1.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Isle of the Damned, our Vampire the Dark Ages chronicle. Uh, it's been a while. We've been off for the holidays, but we're back, ready for more deep dark stories of terrible, horrible monsters, and what they've been up to for the time being. Um, yes. This is our 13th episode, and we're going to start off by saying hello to our players. And we are going to go in the following order. Let's start off with Mars. Why don't you give us your introduction?
Hello, I am Mars, and I play Maud, our Aramanes.
Very nice, very spooky, very Valkyrie.
Very Valkyrie.
Next up, Thomas. Why don't you give us your introduction?
Hello, my name is Thomas, and I will be playing Randolph, the gangrel. And also, since it is our 13th episode, I would like to dedicate it to the Great Horned Rat. Praise be to his skittering glory.
All right. Next up, Blue. Give us your introduction.
Hey everyone, I'm Blue, and I will be playing Prince Gwyneth of Peel. Well, Zamitzi friend. He's your stepdad. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry
His
about it.
best.
Yeah. All right. Next up, Drew. Why don't you give us your introduction?
Hi, I'm Drew. I'll be playing the Sir Oliver the Norman Templar, and I'd like to say that's beautiful that we've been 13 episodes and I've never been the first person to introduce myself. Keeping the streak going. Good job, Mark.
I mean, you might not be able to see the outline that I have set up, but it makes a lot of sense. Trust me, it makes a lot of sense.
Oh, making blind jokes already.
Damn.
First one of
Happy
2025.
Start out right.
Every
Start
time.
out the year right.
You're right.
Time.
All right, and last but certainly not least, Rebecca. Why don't you give us your introduction?
Thank you, Mark. You are kind and gracious, Dusty. No notes. Hi, my name is Rebecca. I play Keeper Sister Iris. The Sombra.
And I will say, though I appreciate flattery, it will not save you.
Damn.
All right then. I think with that, we can go to the our recap of the last episode,
Okay, let's do it.
and also do
So,
some music for
the
us.
beginning of the. Is Mars gonna do it?
Now you do it.
Okay. I was confused. All right. So the episode began with our prince getting a visit from his personal demon. It offered to take care of his problem if he promised to kill someone in its name. It could be anyone at some point in the future, but its name had to be invoked on the killing. Gwyneth said he would consider it, and the demon said its offer was only good until sunrise. Then we jumped over to Sir Oliver, Maud, Randolph, and Sister Iris, preparing to go hunt the Gould Hounds. Sir Oliver wished that the prince was coming with them, afraid that if they left Gwyneth alone, he might not be prince anymore. Randolph took on wolf form for the occasion, and they went and found the Hound's cave and entered to find a den of bones and a very injured humanoid person, missing some limbs, I believe, which they assumed most likely was a kindred in torpor. Hounds kind of ambushed them in the cave, and they were led by a larger, red-furred, more feral-looking hound, more wolvish. Had kind of a more intelligent glint in his eye. And I don't think the fight started yet at that point. Then we went back to the castle. Gwyneth received a visit from our local Malkavian, Lady Tuari. Did I say that right? I'm not sure. I'm not French. I'm sorry, everybody.
It's French. Sounds right enough.
And
Mhm.
and she arrived only several episodes after her appearance was called for. She appeared highly disturbed at the sight of Gwyneth and said she saw death, only death. She asked Gwyneth if he was the dragon or the fiend. He said he was most likely the dragon, and she told him the knight always kills the dragon in the end. Gwyneth asked her what she wanted, and she said she just wanted to be left alone. Then she obfuscated and ran away, terrified. Back at the cave, our four heroes fought well. Every time they took out some hounds, more appeared. Um, Oliver was a beast, not taking any damage with his armor and just slaughtering hounds left and right. Sister Iris was using her shadow tentacle magic and kind of controlling the horde a little bit as you were all fighting. Um, in the end, the Red Hound retreated and escaped with about 5 other hounds. Um, our coterie took the body and left the cave after staking it. On the way through the forest, they found that the big hound had eaten several of the smaller ones, which is not something ghouls can do. They don't feed off each other. Um, you all made a fire and burned the hounds, but not before taking some blood for Oswald, our friendly Tremere, to analyze. And I believe you were bringing the staked body back to the castle. Back at the castle, Gwyneth called for Amir and asked, if he would be willing to take care of Judas in case he is not behaving by the end of hospitality time. Um, Amir asked if Judas was an elder and said it would take some doing, but he could do it. In exchange, he asked for a position on the council and to be appointed Gwyneth's scourge. Gwyneth agreed, and they agreed that Gwyneth needs to notify Amir on the day if things are still going bad, but also Amir made it really clear he's been watching very carefully the whole time. Yeah, and at the very end, the demon appeared again and was annoyed that Gwyneth was outsourcing, and it told him to enjoy what he had coming to him. And yeah. Did I forget anything?
Oh,
I think that's pretty much it.
That's
Yeah.
pretty much it.
It's good.
Indeed.
It's good.
You can have a point of willpower back. Temporary willpower for that.
Woo! Huzzah.
Congratulations.
It won't save you, but you have one.
You're slightly more likely you will survive. Alright then. I think with that, we can jump right in. I will say I do not have a preamble for this week, but there are reasons for it.
Oh, Lord.
So for now, we are going to jump back in to a scene in the forest.
Ooh.
Just after our group of Canaanites had gathered together after fighting off these ghoul hounds, finding outside a bunch of the ghoul hounds' massacred bodies, and no sign of the lead hound anywhere. You managed to escape in tow with either one of the bodies or a bit of the blood. I will allow you to make the choice of whichever you want for one of the ghoul hounds, as well as where is he?
Corpse.
There we go. This fellow,
Ooh.
who
Oh,
currently has a
yeah.
piece of wood shoved into his chest. You think in his heart.
Pretty sure I got it. Look, he's
Mhm.
probably not going to get up anyway, but worst case scenario.
Nonetheless, who is carrying him along? And are they carrying him or are they dragging him?
I think with Maud is happy to carry him. She's quite strong, and I think dragging him is a bad idea, as that does leave quite the trail.
All right. With that, you begin your journey back to the city. I think with that, why don't one of you roll me a d10 and tell me high or low?
I'll do
Got
it.
it.
Tyler.
All right, I'll roll it if someone wants to call it.
Oh god.
Low.
I'll call. Oh, yeah, he called low.
Yeah, low.
Oh, okay. So, all right.
5 on the
Middle,
low
okay.
side.
On the middle.
Yeah.
All right then. You managed to make your way back to the council room. It is
Always
here.
after
I'm not sure you guys have seen it since it was destroyed.
I don't think we have, no.
Not yet.
Hmm.
We're too late.
Welcome. You're far too late.
All right, but yes, you
Oh.
arrive to see the large table with a huge crack in it. One of the chairs has been broken against the wall. One of the windows has been smashed open. And there looks to be like one of the tables where like some candles were set up. They've all been knocked over. And then you would see Gwynedd. What would Gwynedd be doing in the room?
If we're seeing him right after the last scene, he's probably pensively looking out the window. Because we're getting close to sunrise. He wants to make sure you guys get back.
I was afraid of
Hey.
this.
My
We've had this
friend, Mr.
table
Ayuga.
for over 100 years, and it managed to survive that long. Oh,
There's clearly been a sign of a struggle, and some of the most powerful people in this have power over flesh. Prince Gwynedd, are you actually Prince Gwynedd?
I think he turned back. Oh, I, in my mind, he had turned back by last episode. Yeah,
mhm.
it's been quite a while. So
No, that's
That's,
him
uh,
asking in
mhm.
character. So you're not a shape-shifting flesh person, are you?
Yeah.
asking if he's the real him.
Yes,
Was that-
basically.
Yes.
He's
Okay.
like, oh, there's been a fight, and also we know someone has vicissitude. This is exactly the kind of thing I'd do if I were trying to kill us all.
Mm. Yeah, Gwyneth turns around and he just says, "It's me, Randolph."
Alright, it's him.
Mm.
I fared a bit better than the chamber did.
Yes, quite good. What
I
happened
assumed that
here?
there was a struggle, some sort of fight. I'm sorry that we left you alone.
Are we short
Who
guests
attacked
now?
you?
I was not attacked, but Judas came to. Did I go to him or did he come to me? I can't.
He came
even
to you.
He came to
remember.
you.
I think he came here. Judas came to receive orders for Canaanites living in the city and told me that there was no need for such things. Basically, that he was going to do precisely what he pleased. And when I told him that wasn't acceptable, let's just say he paid me no mind. So yes, he left, and I, had a moment.
I
So
he
understand.
wrecked
I see.
the council
see.
chamber and left?
No, he did. It's the call of the beast.
It was not one of my better moments, and I do apologize for it. But
No.
It happens to the best of us.
It does.
Quite
yes.
so.
sadly
All-
it does.
The call of the beast is a constant thing. But in happier news, and hopefully something that can bolster your spirits, our mission was largely a success, barring one complication. Uh, he will gesture to the body held aloft by Maud. This is the body that we found within the cave. We entered, finding it empty. But as we came in, we were beset by those hounds. Hounds that we slew in great numbers, each of us mighty, furious force. But there was one of them that led them. A red-maned wolf that managed to escape, that slew its brethren in a quest to gain further sustenance and slake its injuries that Maud and I gave it. It is still at large, but we suspect this person to be one of the Cainites that the hounds were feeding from, using it as a filter of sorts.
I know this person isn't in the best state, but can I ask the ST, since Gwyneth had the vision of the person giving himself to the hounds, is he at all recognizable as that person?
Oh, it's him. It's 100% him.
Yes. I have seen this one before. I'm actually surprised to see him in even this state after the vision I had of him.
He does look like a mangled corpse. Like, yeah. His arms and bones are like twisted at odd angles. The flesh is missing.
I am concerned about this red wolf you mentioned, though.
Got a couple of theories if you want me to share them.
Please do.
First, it's a big wolf that's been eating a lot of vitae, and from that, it's gained in power, ferocity, some limited approach. The beast within the Cainites it's been eating has given it power. The second, it contains a spirit or the mind of another Cainite, maybe this guy, and he pokes none too gently in the ribs of the torpid person,
There's a cracking
using
sound.
using some manner of discipline to insert his will and his mind into that creature. And after extended, let's say, internment, and the body being torpid in such a way, the thing I said first might have happened to this guy.
Silly question, Randolph, and I don't mean any direct offense or anything, but could it not just be one of your clanmates?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this guy's a gangrel. If he's the one that, he mentioned.
I meant the wolf.
Oh. Maybe. Maybe leading the pack in some fashion, but
If it
could be, I
was, why would they
suppose.
have any need of this corpse?
Maybe additional sustenance. That's a good point. There could be another third-party kindred involved. Third theory.
There could
Very good, Sir Oliver.
be, though my vision didn't show another Cainite. It just showed this one. He seemed
Visions
to
are not
be...
always wholly reliable. Often leave details out.
I'll
But-
say that
I
I
feel that about this one.
I'll say I trust the visions of the prince. I will say that the hounds have been attacking during the day, but doesn't mean that the big hound was the one doing that kind of thing. None of the reports suggested as such.
You've been on the island for longer than I, and you've been in the wild of it. Have you run across more wild beings on the island, Randolph?
Not for very long. And not very close. None that I've had a conversation with, I'll say that.
I know
As always,
one
it
of
seems
our...
we have. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, because you're still in character.
Seems like, as always, the list of things we have to contend with just continues to grow. Every time we solve one thing, brings a new problem before us. This place truly is damned.
We are all quite damned. But if it makes you feel
know
any
about
better,
that.
it's still technically the same thing.
What do you say, Sister Iris? Are we all damned?
Well, one would say that everyone is to a certain extent, but if you are to be able to find forgiveness and absolution in acts of service and atonement, well, I don't think there's saving us, but we can always try, right?
Yes, I would think so.
Sure.
So just above table, because I'm trying to remember, I know one group of Vikings that invaded were called like sea wolves, but I'm not sure if we ever found that out in character. ST,
You found that out in
or does
character.
anyone else
You
remember?
found that through
that was
text.
Okay. Okay.
that was us in the library, and I think we were what we found out was possibly, and I could be misremembering, but I think sea wolves were what they called the boat.
Seawolves is technically a term for Vikings or pirates in general.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Wolves of the sea.
Got you.
I will say for any history buffs out there, technically it isn't not a term that's used until later, but I like it, so I'm using it now.
Fair.
Hell yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I do wonder, given our research in Bliss, Sister Iris, if perhaps this red wolf may be a survivor of times past when sea wolves came ashore on the Isle of Man. Could just be a coincidence, but powerful being in such a form may not be.
No. Randolph turns into a wolf. So, 'tis possible it is coincidence, but it is always worth looking into. I'm not certain how we would go about researching it per se, but, I'd happily try to find ways to trace his lineage back, if it can be done.
I am concerned that this is a being. Go ahead, Randolph.
I have a way to do that, maybe. So, this guy obviously got close and personal with that type of people. Take the stake out, leave him in a cell. He's been in our territory for who knows how long, but enough for an entire pack to be using him for a larder. Either he's responsible for the wolves or he's a victim therein. So, he's a citizen or a criminal under your jurisdiction. We feed him blood, we see if he wakes up, we talk to him about stuff, and if not, we throw him into the sun. Or keep him.
Seems good to me.
You're the sheriff.
Cool.
You feel that's what works, then I trust you.
That's right, I am. I suppose it wouldn't be fair, assuming they are a victim, to immediately consign them to death. I'll think about it.
Yeah.
Still, we'll see what he has to say.
Could try to persuade them into confessing another way.
We would have to get him to wake up first, and that will obviously
Right,
not be
sir.
done before the sun rises. So, probably putting him in protective custody would be the best way to go.
Aye,
think
I'll
so.
get him to one of the rooms, cause can't exactly put him in one of the standard cells.
It
In
We
depends
have
who's
someone
on
to watch
guard.
over him.
Yeah, we'll
Well,
have.
Dungeons in the basement, Randolph. It should be fine.
Fair enough. That being said, we should ask the people who've been here longer than us, such as Sister Morana, if she recognizes such a figure. If not, then persons unknown. We'll just begin our questioning from a blank slate.
I should also add, speaking of Sister Morana, we do have a new council member now, and that may be a meeting to call after we wake up tomorrow evening.
Yeah, sure, the more the merrier. Are they good?
I spoke with Amir about our Judas problem, and he asked to be on the council. So I have a scourge now.
That's
That's
good.
good. You do the job well.
And who knows, he may know things from his part of the world that would apply to this that we do not. So it wouldn't hurt to bring it up to the council.
I can understand the logic. I do think his assistance in this endeavor is probably worth the dilution of power. Keep in mind, if there is a point when our votes are outweighed, while you are still the prince, if they can outpower us or outmaneuver us, then we'll find power slipping like water through our fingers. But you know that, so...
My
In this
Honestly, that was never
only-
something that Father Collins really worried about when we had our small council outside of the normal court positions.
However, there is something to be said that we have added 2 additional members outside of the designated people that Father Collins named. And they were both here prior to most of us, and he did not name them. But what is done is done. We cannot undo it easily. And either way, Judas, and just shakes his head.
Yes, indeed.
That's a very interesting point, and one which I curse myself for not thinking of all these years before. Why is it now that we are filling these positions? Why were they unfilled before, and how did the place manage without such a thing?
Just didn't need it. He had a firm grasp on everybody involved and everybody local.
Yes, a firm grip indeed. A firm grip and so unknown by people outside the city. Something to look into.
Did you have much of an insight?
Well, I will say before our council was formed, and outside of it, I was working quite closely with the prince, and we did have dealings with Marana and Blackwood and Amir.
May have been more of an unspoken arrangement.
I
Quite
see.
so.
Yes.
But dawn approaches, and I imagine some of you will want to feed before you rest after such a hard-fought battle, which, well done.
Thank you.
Thank you, my prince.
Well done.
And you are correct. I'll get this guy to one of the rooms. I'll have him held in a cell. I'll remove the stake tomorrow when we're more prepared.
I think that's best, yes.
Is there a way
At that
to-
point, Sir Oliver will remove his cloak, draping it over the body. Remember, the guards are mortal. Randolph.
I feel a little bit uneasy about just keeping him in the cells. If we need someone to watch over him, I could maybe look over him in one of the rooms. I've got a keen eye.
Sounds good. Oh, in case my theory about him surfing in the minds and bodies of other animals holds true. You won't have a room with a window anyway, so it should be fine. I trust you to guard him.
All right.
I as well.
Right, very good.
All right, to our places of rest then.
Oh, right. Official stuff before we all get adjourned. Everyone did very well. Official commendations all around. Mighty warriors. Good on you.
Thank you.
He nods a couple of times, like that was a speech. And then, with the meeting adjourned, he will turn on his heel and stalk Predator on a hunt, even if that hunt is a resting place.
As Randolph turns to turn away after his captivating, invigorating speech, Oliver reaches up and kind of scratches him on the head.
Yeah, don't patronize me. That's a dangerous game.
Love that song.
Randolph, instinct roll. No.
I wouldn't be surprised, but Randolph isn't that sort.
Mm-hmm.
His pride is a whole different thing,
Mm-hmm.
and he likes his friends more than he minds getting lightly embarrassed.
Oh, who's a good boy?
Harry, don't push it.
All right. With that, the meeting concluded. Each of you head off to your own homes and havens, finding a nice place to rest for the day. Maud, you find yourself a room in the castle with the body of the mangled man with you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remove the stake? Or do you keep it in him?
At this point, this time of night, keeping the stake in him.
All right. With that, the sun begins to rise upon the horizon, and all of you feel the call of the sleep. The deep, close cousin of death that is torpor. With that, Gwynedd, roll me your willpower.
Nightmare.
Don't do that to me, y'all.
No, that's me saying that the roll is necessary. I want you to succeed the roll.
Oh, wait, how do I do it again? I roll on permanent willpower?
I believe so, yes.
I think it is
Yes, it
permanent
is.
willpower for this, yeah.
Permanent willpower difficulty 7, I think.
Yes, that sounds right. Let me double check, I think it is on your sheet.
Right.
Nice.
That was difficulty 6. So instead, that is 2 successes.
3, 2, okay.
Which is enough to not have horrific nightmares. Instead, the usual dreamless void that greets all of you. Or you find yourself waking the next day. On which, or next night, I should say, you all spend 1 point of blood to rouse yourself.
Blood.
Yeah, I'm now below half.
Ooh.
ST, how many blood is Oliver at?
You're currently at 10.
Okay, I will use the rest of my herd because it was higher than I thought, and I will top off.
Alright.
I am currently below half as well. I am at 8.
Jesus.
Don't
Damn.
worry, I'm bringing Percival to you.
That's right. I've been holding out for this.
Alright.
I wanted
I think
to
I'm gonna
be
Want
That's
it
where
to
you
be
go.
special.
Oh.
Oh, I was just gonna say I'm gonna use herd as well, even though I'm not that low. I'm just not taking chances with much today.
Fair enough.
Fair
As
enough.
well with herd. When does that like refresh in terms
At
of
the
like
end of the week.
Okay, has it been?
It has not been a week yet.
Cool,
Yep.
awesome, good to know. Just so I
Mhm.
cannot use any more from that. Does Glenid have any herd left? Because I know you had a shit ton.
Last episode we started a new week at some point in the last 2 episodes, so there's that.
Oh, we did. Oh,
It did,
no, I'm
yeah.
true.
A new week had
Actually,
happened in the
yeah.
last episode or so because we had time skip.
Actually, yeah. Then I wouldn't have used I didn't use
Specifically,
any points that period
so
of time.
long as you've used it was before your trip to Douglas.
Yes, I'm pretty sure I used all of my points of it prior to the Douglas trip.
Then yes, then you'd have it all
Yeah.
back.
Awesome. Good to know that I'll use my own herd.
All right.
Yeah.
I will say also at this point, the time is ticking down as it is getting closer to the night of your first official Elysium. Which, for thematic sake, I'm gonna say is Christmas night. Christmas
Oh
Eve.
my god.
Hey.
I'm not full, by the way.
Hell yeah.
All right. However, you do have a few more nights to prepare for it, if you so wish. One note, Maud, as you wake up, you find the body next to you is still mangled and broken. The stake has not been moved. The body has not changed.
Alright. Well, I think Maud kind of glances at him a little bit, making sure for certain that nothing has changed.
Make
That- that-
a
Okay.
perception medicine
Perception medicine. Okay.
or
What is
alertness.
Oh,
Medicine
that's
would be difficulty 6. Alertness would be difficulty 7.
I'll go with perception alertness, difficulty 7.
All right.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Bold.
2
Ooh.
successes.
2 successes. Indeed, it does not seem like the body has changed. It still looks like a mangled corpse
Uh-huh.
with a piece of wood in it, just jammed into its chest.
Alright, looks fine to me. Well, I think Maud would definitely take note of that, and I think she as well might just kind of like grab the body, cover it up, and go to bring it to the council room so they can decide properly how to go about dealing with this.
I would also ask at this point, do you give the blood that was found, or the body of the wolf, to Oswald? Do you include him in this conversation, or you just have someone give it to him?
Maud wasn't carrying the blood.
I think that would be a conversation to have with the prince.
All right. In that case, we return back to the meeting chamber.
So, my prince, we had an idea, and we found took a vial of the blood, or possibly for Oswald to inspect, if that is something that
the
he would approve of.
Yes, I think that was well thought.
Okay.
But first, we should probably deal with the body. Yes.
Of course.
Before we call the rest of the council. Do you all agree?
Of course, yes.
I agree.
Just housekeeping that needed to be done before anything else.
Despite his, well, you know, the information we can gain from what might have been done to these hounds will be useful. Oh, Sir Oliver, sorry, you go.
Randolph, with Elysium approaching and the traditions as they are, I did bring Percival along.
I
And
think.
if you are,
Oh, sorry, you go.
if you are a bit famished, before we deal with unstaking a potential problem, might be best to top off a bit.
Oh, Sir Oliver, you do know what kind of presence I like. By which I mean, so Percival, very good to see that your promotion, your rebirth, is about to appear, and do not mind my demeanor. There is a gleam in his eye like that of a predator, looking at this person like a famish man would a roast boar. But he's like trying to be polite, and will say, "Well, Sir Oliver, Percival, at your earliest convenience, I can get this done, and from there, well, I understand there's a bit of a ritual to it."
Yeah, I just thought the timing was I was hoping to catch you before the council chamber, but apparently we're all too quick. So, maybe adjourn
You
to
may
a part of the
retire
castle real
to
quick.
somewhere else. Yes, please take the time if you wish now.
Right, see you guys in a little bit.
I think
This is
as
so exciting. I've never been part of something like this before.
Oh
I
dear.
think as they are talking about that, I think Maud looks very tense and is kind of gripping the kind of mangled corpse as she just kind of like placed it down, probably on the table that they. I assume at this point they're probably put right side up, but she's probably just kind of like digging her nails into it,
Oh,
trying not to
There's a
focus on that
moment.
conversation.
mm.
There's a moment after he says, "I had hoped to catch you before we entered the council chamber," where his eyes pan over to Maud and kind of lock on Maud's eyes for a moment, and he just shakes his head and walks out of the council chamber.
Iris
Damn
would
it!
sort of like sidestep up to her and say, "All is well."
I can't hear Mars. Oh, I can't hear any of you. Hold on. God damn it, Discord.
Oh my god,
Oh no.
I'll
Discord!
say
That happens to
that
me every now and then.
that came out of nowhere. Lying is a sin. Said
I
to
know.
a room of vampires immediately after. Oh,
How
you
dare
brought me
you.
a present, a person to exsanguinate and kill. Yeah.
Right, and so lying is a sin, you know.
I love how that's why Gwyneth was like,
That
"None
really
over
killed
there. Are
me.
we all damned? Really?" She's like, "Nah. I mean, mostly, but nah."
I mean,
But
if you
lying
want
is
to
a
get
sin.
into it from a technical academic
Oh my god.
standpoint, you know, I absolutely can do that.
Maud, I've been
Oh,
wishing to speak with you
are
alone.
we good to go again?
Yeah.
Oh,
Sounds
cool.
good.
Okay. So in that case,
perhaps while they are
Iris.
busy. Oh, you go ahead. You're doing your thing.
Yeah. So, so you were saying You don't get a say.
I can have my discomfort with it, but it is their choice.
Doesn't mean that your feelings don't deserve to be heard. You can't bottle it up and expect it to go away. If you ever need to unburden yourself, you know that I'm always around.
I think Maud kind of glances around the room at Iris, then at the prince. I'll keep that in mind.
There is the shadow of a smile on Iris's face as she nods and then takes a step back.
Maud, I had been wishing to speak with you alone when the opportunity presented itself, and this may be as good a time as any. So Iris, would you mind watching our friend while we step away?
Of course not, and someone should be here to greet the guests as they arrive, or fellow council members, I suppose.
Yes, I will leave it in your capable hands for now.
She will bow, spread her hands.
And I guess, maybe there's an antechamber or something that they can step into in the meantime. I will not say more than what Mr. Iris has just said about what just occurred, but I've been wanting to speak with you about positions within the council, as you are now the only one without one and are most deserving of one. But I do not know your feeling on it. What say you?
I mean, I don't really mind too much. I'm not fixated on positions, but I guess if it's something that doesn't really require much politics, then I would be open to the idea. I'd certainly accept a position like that.
I feel that maybe your unique talents may warrant a unique position. Perhaps something that normally would not be a position on a council.
What would that be?
Not sure. I thought perhaps the two of us could come up with something. If you are open to it.
I'm open to that.
I mean, you are a Valkyrie in residence. Perhaps that is title enough. You can define the parameters of what that means for yourself, or we could discuss it further in the future after you've had time to think on it.
I'll see what I can think of. Then I'll run that by you, and we can discuss it.
That sounds acceptable. I know Randolph is our sheriff, and he does quite a good job with it, but you, in your own way, are a defender in a slightly different manner. Uh, your your prowess in battle, especially, perhaps that the council could have. Perhaps he's more the enforcer, and you're more the defender. Think on
Perhaps,
it.
yes. A defender or a battle master of sorts.
Yes, I think that would certainly suit your skills.
Well, I think so.
We have time. You can think on it. For now, I think Valkyrie is a good title as any.
I like that. And I appreciate the offer.
I simply wanted to make it known to you that your talents and efforts are seen and appreciated. Did not want you to feel that they were not.
Of course. I won't want that.
All right then. We'll speak about it more in the future. Gwyneth will go back to the council chamber.
Maud will nod before doing the same.
I think at that point we will cut away to a different scene.
Yeah.
Yee.
Oh boy.
We cut to a dark room off to the side where we have Sir Oliver and Sheriff Randolph, along with Percival in tow, or Percy.
Now, I'll say this much before we begin. Do you have any words that you'd like to say, Sir Oliver?
First, before we get there, sorry.
yeah.
Also, ST would I would have asked Stuart Anders to round up likely candidates for blood, whether it be, I know after the transition he'll need some, having been through it, so probably French and if we have any, and women, but just likely candidates that may help sustain after, that.
The one thing I will note is the specific requirements for being a Ventru take some time to develop, so they can feed off of
Okay.
other blood for the time
Whatever.
being until their tastes become more rarefied.
Okay. I wasn't sure how you're gonna rule on that, so okay.
No,
Well,
it takes some
just
time for the
round up
curse to
some
take
people.
hold.
Okay. As Randolph states that, Oliver walks around in front of Percy. My squire, kneel before me.
He does so almost immediately.
And with that, Oliver pulls a sword out of a baldric draped under his cloak from his back, handing the scabbard to Randolph. With your entrance into our society, you will no longer be my squire. You will be my childer. You have served well through wars, battles, and in defense of the city. Therefore, While normally it would require a king to do this, I see no harm in this kingdom that is foreign to our lands. He touches the sword on one shoulder, and then the other, claiming you a knight. Should anybody raise suspicion to this, you send them to me. And with that, he resheathes the sword, laying it down in front of Percy, as well as a couple of spurs and a white belt. Remember, the sword has two purposes: to defend those who are unable to defend themselves, and the other edge to cut to the truth of the matter. I would take your vow of this now.
And with that, he nods, he bows his head as he says, I so swear and vow to uphold the values you have instilled upon me, to live as a true knight, to honor your wisdom, and to ensure that chivalry and justice are upheld.
Very well. Now rise, Sir Percy, and prepare to take the next step in your journey.
We watch.
Death of your mortal form.
We watch as Percival stands. Meanwhile, we see looming in the background a monster. As whatever preconceptions or appearances Randolph shows fades, revealing the true beast within. As we see him loom over. Tell me, how does Randolph snuff the life out of his prey?
Randolph had been watching this cultural exchange, very Ventru, very Road of Kings, watching it still and quiet, eyes keen and sharp, thinking of this in itself as a hunt, thinking of the next hunt that he might have to do. And as Percival rises, he will perhaps notice where once there was no one, there is now Randolph. And as he prepares, or perhaps even slightly before then, there's a brief flash of activity, but without actually grabbing the hair, without actually grabbing the body. Fangs go in first, then grabs, while he holds him still and insensate, while the pleasure of the kiss stuns him. And Randolph will, without having to worry about keeping someone alive, for this is the intent, he will drain Percival to death. He didn't want to add anything to sully the culture of the Road of Kings, because he values Sir Oliver. But in his mind, he thinks that this person will sleep and die as a sheep, and soon rise as a wolf. He will drain Percival to death, and he will keep drinking, fully restoring his blood pool.
You gain 10 points of blood.
Indeed.
As eventually the body goes limp in your arms.
And as the last drop is sated, Randolph will, with perhaps more care than he would normally show, though he does show respect to his kills, he will take the body and gently rest it on the ground, propping up perhaps the head for Sir Oliver to do his part of his dark deed.
Oliver, taking Sir Percy's sword, again out of the scabbard, slices open his wrist, placing the sword over the body and placing the wrist to Percival's mouth, begins to pump the vitae into his soon-to-be child there.
As the blood spills forth, the body, pale and desiccated, is still. Eventually, you reach a point where you believe you have given enough blood for the process to be completed. And as you stand back, the body continues to lay there, pale and unmoving. Neither of you have actually experienced the process of the embrace before, at least not from the outside. It is anxiety-filled, as a part of you wonders if this will even work. The only proof you have is your own embrace, and even then, you are not conscious enough to experience it. Not truly.
There is a
Long-
dark dread. Oops, sorry, you go.
Oh, no, go ahead. No, please.
There's a dark dread in the back of Randolph's mind that his own addition might prevent this from happening and might have in some way interrupted the procedure. But there's only waiting can tell the truth there.
For Oliver, his jaw sets firmly as he watches. He knows that Percy was well on the path that he had set before his feet, and that it will take time for his spirit to set to rest. His eyes narrow, though, the longer it takes. Not being confused or concerned with Randolph's part in this, but very much with just the feeling the spirit should be coming back. That peace. This man gave his life for the sire, or would-be sire, and his liege. Anxiety is that of almost a parent versus that of a warrior. He begins to pace slowly, eyes never leaving Percy.
Long seconds tick by. And at the moment where it feels as if all hope has been lost, that the process has failed, a breath is taken inwards as Percival's eyes flutter open, sitting upright in a sudden and quick moment as he grabs at his stomach.
There we go.
As he grabs at his stomach, Oliver will open the door, retrieving whatever sustenance they have brought for him, or Anders has brought forward. Randolph, I think it's best, my friend, if you leave us to this part. You need not be here for this.
I'm very thankful to be here as long as I was. Thank you, my friend, and good luck. Even though he knows that the sounds would barely register to the new child, all that there is the hunger. He's been in those shoes exactly. And he didn't exactly have a ready-made meal. But if he did, he didn't know if he'd leave it alive. He slinks away, listening perhaps as to the sounds of the newly formed beast struggling with the new kindred. But he will leave the Ventrue to their private affairs. Though, if there's a fight, he knows Sir Oliver can handle a fledgling.
I think we just see as you step out the door and the door begins to close, the shuddering and shaking form of Percy as he is struggling with that internal desire and sudden hunger that the beast awakens as we watch as the door closes. With that, we cut back to the council room. People in the council room. By this point, Randolph has returned. Oliver has yet to return, but will return soon. Joining the event is Amir and Lady Morana.
Were we gonna take care of the body before the council met officially?
It's up to you guys.
I'm
They're
fine with
either
them.
here or they are not
Yeah.
here.
Indeed.
You get to decide.
Okay. We'll have them in on it then. They can look
Alright.
at it. See what they think.
Randolph would, under normal circumstances, make a remark, perhaps, about the perhaps vintage of Percival, because indeed tasted fantastic. But he is aware that there are two others, which, though he trusts them in positions of power, he doesn't quite know what they'd do if they knew there was a fresh fledgling. He lives in a world of predators and prey, and if one is strong, killing the young is a valid strategy. So he's not going to say anything about it.
Hey.
But Randolph will
Thank you
say,
both for coming.
yes, Sir Oliver
Ah.
will be joining shortly.
Wonderful. Everyone has just arrived, so it's quite auspicious timing.
All right,
Oh, you've
very
got a
good.
little.
All right,
There you go.
very kind. Apologies. Good evening, Sister Morana and Amir. Good to have you on the council.
I will say, as this may be the first time Sister Morgana has heard of it, I would like to introduce everyone to Amir, our new council member, and Scourge.
Amir bows his head. Sister Morana gives him a look, but she does not say
Yeah.
anything.
Mm-hmm.
If I may.
Yes, Sheriff, please.
The source of the recent disturbances and potential breaches of the silence has been identified, and an offensive was carried out to fair success. Nearly all of the beasts have been broken and slain. Within their lair, we found this Cainite. This Cainite, perhaps the one who called the beast to him, and evidently whose blood has led to some shift. The leader of the pack remains at large, though I intend to rectify that either this very night or in short order. This Cainite, however, I would ask perhaps one of the more knowledgeable of the people in the area, Sister Morana, have you ever seen his face before?
She looks at the body. then looks at you. No.
Then it's evident that he did not make an appearance, and if he did, then it was not a public one to... I'm so sorry. What was the name of... to Father Collins. I almost forgot briefly. But Randolph will
Frenzy
say... With that in mind, I intend to wake him to ensure that he is either a victim of his own foolishness or the perpetrator of our recent irritation. I'll remove the stake, feed him some blood.
I think
Oh, yeah?
I think Iris would hold up a finger and turn to Amir and do you recognize him at all?
Mia looks over the body, quirks an eye for a moment as he kind of kneels down over it. I cannot say I do. He seems... Well, I assume he is a farmer of some sort, judging by his look. Perhaps in life. There's no way to know if he still has his faculties in his current state. There is a good chance he has gone the way of the beast.
I will
Might,
say he didn't seem to have his faculties about him before he made this sacrifice, though I suppose that's obvious from his state. I saw it occur in a vision, and it seemed almost as if he was sacrificing himself to something. I cannot say more.
Do you know what happened? The attacks of the hounds were relatively recent, from my understanding.
Somewhere in the forest, I think he called them to him.
Or when, rather. The accent makes it.
Oh, when? Sometime before we heard of the attacks. That's when I saw
Stands
the
to
vision
reason.
after. But I can't say how long. Probably not long. We haven't been investigating too long. Randolph, I was wondering if you could describe the leader of the pack to Sister Morana and Amir. Strange phenomenon.
Aye. If anyone saw it, they'd think it was a beast from legend, or indeed a giant maned wolf. Red-furred, massive. It seemed to bolster its subject, ruling the pack, making an army of them, disciplined as far as animals go. And he will go in to describe, perhaps with the accuracy of a gangrel, the various animal features the creature had. You'll know it when you see it. It's unlike any dog.
Certainly not one of the other ghouls. You have your theories, but perhaps they have something else. Have either of you heard of such a thing before?
Sister Marana shakes her head, but Amir pauses for a moment. The vitae, lifeblood of Cainite, he says the word as if it's foreign to him, is odd. It has strange effects on beasts, animals. There are some cases where it can change them. But I must admit I am not an expert when it comes to the intricacies canine blood.
Yes, we do have a sample, which... Go ahead, Sister Iris.
Oh, I was just going to say that your knowledge and opinion is valued regardless.
Speaking of experts in canine blood, we do have a sample which we were going to call on the Tremere Oswald to perhaps examine further.
Mir immediately frowns. Sister Marana has no reaction to this information.
Does possess expertise which we do not, and we did say we would have tasks for him to perform if he wished to stay, so...
I am always of the opinion that Tremere should be often offered no quarter. No pardon. But it is your city.
That's fair. Perhaps this will be a test to see how useful he can be to us.
Many people have those opinions on various lands and such. There's bad blood between a great number of us. Well, it is not a good idea to wait to be hurt before you lose trust in someone. But one must have faith that perhaps they're different.
I don't think this guy is. But that's neither here nor there. And your wisdom and knowledge into the human and canine condition is very valued. He says to not immediately make it look like, yeah, I'd kill him if I could. But
I think Iris kind of just like tries very hard not to roll her eyes in Randolph's direction.
to his credit, he gives an apologetic look before saying, as for the how, or rather the what, it's not quite going to solve our problem, but I intend to, regardless, and finish what we began last night. Find the ringleader now that the pack has been diminished, or find out if the pack is larger than our earlier estimate suggested, and bring it low.
Yes, we can't keep having these attacks on villages. That is important. I will say, speaking of bad blood, we do have someone else in the castle currently who is on probation. And I hope that he will see reason, but as of this moment, Judas has not chosen to follow my rules for kindred staying within the city, so that may become another issue to deal with soon.
Sister Marana interrupts. Has he broken any of them?
Not yet.
Hmm.
Do you know otherwise?
No. Just curious.
So, but he did make it very clear to me, Yester Eve, that he had no intentions of following, even maintaining the silence, which cannot be tolerated. We shall see. He is still hospitality. For now.
Yes, of course.
So, the next thing I believe is waking this person. I suggest we do it somewhere not in the council chamber.
Why? Because it will get destroyed.
No, I think Oliver, if he were here, would agree this is not the setting for such things.
Of course,
And
I
perhaps,
merely jest.
of course, and I appreciate it. Um, uh, do either of you wish to be present? I know I wish to be. Of course, Randolph will be. I think any council members who wish to be can, but
Will
certainly
do.
needn't be.
The more people we have to defend against him, I suppose, is the best.
I think Randolph will look over him. He's in terrible shape. How much of him is missing?
He is missing his shin down on one of his legs. One of his arms is like the bone is broken, shattered, and like twisted at odd directions. His other arm is like straight up missing most of the fingers, and his chest cavity has just been devoured and smashed inwards. It's not a pretty sight. The only main thing to note is that he does not bleed. None of the wounds are bloody. That's not unexpected. For Kindred, or K-Knights, I should say.
Well, it seems that it'll probably require vast, at least some blood to get him up. Do we have any sort of ideas as to who would be the one to supply such?
I can do it.
I would say animal blood will do for now,
Oh, all right.
if you agree. Sheriff.
I'll see what I can do. That being said, all we need him is to be up and to be able to resist the beast. If indeed, and he gestures to Amir, the beast has not already taken over. An ordeal like this would break men of fairly iron will.
At this point, the doors open, and Sir Oliver enters.
Seneschal. Oh, you might be muted.
Yeah. Oh, now you turn the Discord mute on.
Wait,
Oh,
really?
no.
I think it's the actual.
Hello?
Oh,
There we
There
go.
we
Hello.
go. Yay.
Sorry. Silliness. Anyway, Oliver enters. A steeled look upon his face, taking note of everybody that is in the room now, and that Randolph actually noted him by his job description. He raises an eyebrow. Good evening, Council.
Oliver, we were just discussing the revival of our friend here.
I see. Is there a question?
No, I believe it's just a change of location, and the question is who would like to be present of those here?
I would like to be, as I feel it's appropriate.
Yes, the four of you
The
brought him
elixir.
in, I imagine. What about Marana or Amir? Do they look
Marana.
interested?
Amir is just kind of looking over the body with curiosity. Marana seems completely disinterested in the current conversation.
Of course. Love her for that.
She says,
If
yes,
there's
that's all
nothing else,
important. What about... I had heard there were plans to host an Elysium, are there not?
ah,
There are. It will be
I
a
propose...
Christmas Eve, I was thinking.
Oh, so not long.
No. Sooner the better.
I propose that it might be a good time to ensure everyone is on the same page moving forward.
Quite
Especially
so. I was
concerning our
hoping arousing.
guests.
Indeed. I was certainly hoping that it would open with a rousing and encouraging speech from our prince to unite us all in breed and mission.
I think we all could use celebration after what we've been through lately.
Celebration. Yes, I had plans for that as well.
This also might alert us to any other of our kind that are present. And to set your expectations, Prince.
Yes, and we can extend an invitation to friends in Douglas. Should they wish to come to us as we went to this?
Storyteller out of character. What do we know? I know the embrace thing was new to our characters, but as far as like having seen Kindred in battle or Canaanites in battle, sorry, what do we know about the healing, the time it takes to heal from such grievous? I mean, to being able to be conscious after being torpored in this fashion.
He would need time and blood to heal from his wounds. The main thing is normally it's a slow process that, like, takes some time, but usually can be sped up by over a night. However, as he's been staked, he is unable to spend any blood at all.
Right. I'm just wondering, like, what the characters knew, because before I had Oliver speak to it.
It could take any amount of time. When someone is knocked out this badly, it could be anything from a few days, a few months, to decades.
Okay. So, back in character, as far as the procedure and the process of the unstaking and questioning, this is not going to be a quick process. I would suggest he be moved bound to the dungeon, stake removed, blood given. It could take nights, weeks, even months before he's capable of thought, let alone an answer to any questions.
We can
Yes, I
begin the
agree.
process at least, but while at the mercy of torpor, it can take a variable amount of time.
Shall we begin then?
Certainly. But
For you, my prince.
before we adjourn, I would like to bring up a few other things. The domain seems relatively stable for now, even in the wake of the war. More cogent analysis will need to be taken by people with their finger on the pulse of society and commerce, but beyond that, things seem fine. With the removal of the Ragnarson. There is less turmoil, but there is still unrest, perhaps, between the O'Catherines and the Ragnarsons. Additionally, there are other matters which require our attention and further study. But we shall be looking into those, and they shall not exactly impact the party at Elysium. But rest assured, they will be looked into, and I may be asking for the expertise and insight of other council members soon enough.
Sheriff, in regards. I'm sorry, Prince. I did not mean to interrupt you.
Just approving what he said. Continue.
In regards to the O'Catherines and the Magnificents, we have intervened in the parts that we could be held responsible for. At some point, unless it's going to literally burn our city to the ground, we have to let kind problems be handled by kind.
I will say you have more experience in these matters than I do, so I will bow to your judgment there, Seneschal. That being said, I don't know, I don't like leaving a knot untugged. But you're right. That
And
It
said,
is something
and-
to keep a careful eye on, if not interfering with again right away. Is a problem. It could get much worse.
we are a small city. We have few assets. We should keep an eye on that we have.
Yes.
Alright, let's tear
Agreed.
this
It's
sorry.
just agreed. Sorry, agreed. I just want to advise that the more times we intervene and interfere with things, the more times we end up cleaning up messes that we created.
That being said, I don't think there are any more looming threats. Oh, forgive me, my prince.
Above table, someone had told us that we still needed to take care of it, and I can't remember who. I know they hadn't completely calmed down.
I believe it was
Uh,
Sister Morana.
System Morana specifically, if you wanted to take care of it, you probably would need to eliminate one side or the other.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just imagining something else then. Don't mind me.
No problem.
That being said, I don't think there are any more matters of great import beyond perhaps the potential risk of the group known as the, what do you call them? And he looks to Sister Iris as the one. Potentially operating around here. Around the Isle, at least.
Mm.
We'll
But
get
it
to that.
shouldn't be a problem as long as we do not give in to corruption and tyranny. Peel has managed to avoid it for so long.
Yeah, we won't do that, will we?
Randolph.
Randolph is thinking, but corruption and tyranny is what all kindred do. How does one avoid that?
Mm-hmm.
And he says,
Well,
we'll just do normal things. Yes. Alright, let's wake him up.
Oh god, suspicious.
Your
Iris will
lords.
sigh.
Right. One other thing I want to ask is, do any of you either call Oswald to meet you, or do you go to meet Oswald in where he's staying?
I think we probably will call him to meet us. after this. Or I will, anyway.
Alright. So at this point, Amir has gone. Sister Marana has
Hi,
gone.
Very
Iris
good
is
that
here.
Amir
Sister
is gone.
Marana. How dare you?
No, I love Amir.
love Amir.
I love Amir and Randolph loves Amir. However, we are both aware that if Amir is in the same room as a Tremere, the Tremere will be
yeah.
eaten by Amir.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Exactly. Nothing
Oh,
of value will be
no.
lost, but we want to look like we care.
Hmm.
Alright. Oswald arrives.
Oswald.
You called for me, my
Oswald,
prince.
thanks for coming. Yes, I did. Have a curiosity which we would like your input on. A bit of blood for you to analyze and give us more information.
Why, of course. I would be happy to do so.
This is blood that was obtained from some ghouled hounds that have been terrorizing the countryside. And something unusual about them and the way they are organized.
Is that
So we
so?
thought we would. It's true. Randolph, what do you think would help Oswald that I'm leaving out?
Aye, the ghouls, for they are ghouls, have been fair day and been hunting a steady supply of Khainite vitae, as well as becoming more, let's say, bold. They've been killing mortals and kine and making a nuisance of themselves. We expect that the vitae has mutated them somewhat, but we don't know exactly how, and we've not seen this before.
Well, then I can see what I can see from it. He holds his hand out. Takes the vial that is up with it. Opens it up. Takes a sniff. Pouring out, dabbing it off his finger. Licks it.
Randolph nods like, yeah, that's how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
87.
Interesting.
Lots of rain.
You watch as he begins to, with his finger, draw something in the air. And then there is a feeling of air being released. How fascinating. This is indeed the blood of a ghoul. But it has been changed. Normally, in the case of ghouls, they store the vitae within themselves in a separate, often different part of their bloodstream. Usually somewhere in the heart. But this is mixed with Khainite blood. It is as if it has become one with it. Tell me, do you have the vessel, the bodies of these gold hounds?
You a breach of the silence.
Burnt.
Burn most of them. There's still one
Shit.
remaining.
Still several remaining, at least two.
I might be able to, if a body is found, do some proper research into its current form. For now, I have but the blood and its ingrained knowledge to go off of, but there is much that can be discovered from a posthumous examination. As
Is
well,
there
do
a
you have
way? Mm.
the original canine responsible?
Yeah, I do.
Jesus Christ.
Do
you just bring him out? Just pull him out of the pocket?
No, like, presumably he's in a different
Mm.
room, but Randolph will say, yeah, we got him.
If I could have but a drop of his blood, I would be able to find out more information. If I could have his whole body, I could find out a whole lot more, but I do not wish to push my luck.
Well thought. Well thought, Oswald. We will see if we may get a drop of his blood for you.
Very well. I shall have
Do
to
you
do
have
some...
any idea how this change could take place? Where the blood is mingled in the bodies of the ghouls. Have you ever heard of such a thing before?
Indeed I have. But it is not something I have heard of happening in animals.
Was
Yeah,
it somehow perhaps the veins got split or somehow swallowed, or how would they have been combined? Really rather curious.
The blood does odd things to beasts. There are many scholars who believe that animals were not meant to bear the blood of canine. Often it can, some would say, corrupt. I prefer evolve.
I prefer that too.
They adapt to it, its power, its abilities. And sometimes it is almost as if they become embraced by it. But generally,
Interesting.
it is impossible for a canine to embrace an animal. Generally. There are odd exceptions. There always are. Especially when it comes to
Yes.
sorcery.
It does certainly seem strange that we would call such a being that dwells within us a beast, if beasts themselves cannot be changed. Or maybe it is something inherent within them to begin with. Or maybe it is, something that evolved from them, or something, or possibly none at all.
From what I get from most scholarly texts I have read, they seem to believe that there is a unique difference in humans that allows us to take on the blood of canines and become one, and become as we are now. Of course, there are other ways for it to be done.
Really?
Indeed. After all, my clan are one who is born of their own creation. But sadly, said rituals have been lost long ago. And he says long
There's no
ago,
ways to study that academically.
one thing to note, that happened like about
decade.
about 1 or 2 decades at the most.
Yeah.
I see. So those tomes and such have clearly been lost to the ravages of time and no ways of studying them.
Sure.
Now,
Right.
you said that you had heard of such a thing occurring in ghouls before, just not beasts. Can you tell us more about those occurrences?
I probably need to double check my findings, but if I recall correctly, there are those that are normally when one becomes a ghoul, they are in effect sterilized. They cannot reproduce. But there are those who have found ways to do so. In fact, I believe it is
Really?
actually of your blood, my prince. Some sort of way of how do I say this in a way that is palatable? Through the crafting of eggs allows the process of ghouls to reproduce, in which the child is born with the ability to create vitae within themselves.
That's fascinating.
It is quite.
I
So there
genuinely
are,
don't know how I feel about that.
well, there are side effects. Again, mortals are not meant to be ghouls. It is almost a byproduct of Cainite's existence. It's in a way, a mystery.
Why so? Well, while this is useful to know, it's largely academic, though I understand that appeals to some. As far as matters go, whatever this process is, it's generally a far more involved thing than something that can happen at a whim, at random. You think this
Indeed.
kind of thing has happened to these hounds?
I think it is possible. Normally, it takes quite a bit of time, decades, centuries for such processes to truly appear. To happen so speedily is certainly an anomaly, but a curious one at that. Again, there is. I would be able to define more if I had a body to examine. As it is mostly theories.
We'll see what we can
Theories.
do to turn theories into slightly more defined information. But thank you, this is helpful. Once we
This
find
has been
the...
most enlightening.
Say again?
Hopefully, given more time with the sample, you may have even more information to share with us.
Indeed.
Keep us updated.
I will need to reference my texts and such. And if you do see fit to allow me to also work with the blood of the Cainite that caused this, I would be most grateful.
Yes, if we do choose to do that, we will call you back before the council.
Wonderful.
And perhaps one of us will stick around to oversee it.
Of course. Any of you are welcome to visit me in my laboratory, should you wish.
Alright. Thanks very much.
It is my honor.
Perfect.
She gives
Thank
a
you for
bow.
your time.
And thank you
Good
for your
evening to you.
patronage. Good evening. That he takes his leave.
I
just
think
picture Maud
as-
doing that in the background in character. Just
Oh,
behind his
Absolutely.
head.
Yeah.
I think
God, I want that
at-
image.
I think as he leaves, but before he's out of earshot, Randolph turns his head towards Iris with like his eyebrows raised and a smug look on his face.
Okay, well, I still don't really like him, but you can't say that he's not well read and academic and
You're being seduced by his knowledge of matters
I
arcane.
wouldn't use that
He could be
term.
double talk as well, to be honest. But I love that Sister Iris is so keen on looking into his work. It would help us to have someone else learn some of what he knows, especially if he's willing to share, as we know. Tremere usually do not. So if he's offering, that might be something.
But it's
And-
an
Did
night.
we not?
Hmm?
Go ahead.
I think Maud was saying something.
I was just saying, good to get some insight.
Yes. Oversight as well. Even if I would get the pleasure of possibly learning, it would be good to have someone paying attention, making sure that nothing untoward is happening.
I
Still
agree.
don't trust him.
Above table, did any of that stuff he said about Zamitsi, like crafting eggs and hatching ghouls, did any of that
God.
ring a
Make
bell?
an
with Gwyneth
intelligence
Lundy?
occult.
Okay. It sounds like BS to me. But
This will be
let's see.
difficulty 8.
Okay.
Yeah, I was honest about what I said about
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel about that. Fascinating if true, but also concerning.
It's standard Revenant stuff. It's really
Look you.
unsettling and so good. No, it's Deep Lords, like barely in the main book.
Standard deep lore.
Yes.
Oh no!
Good.
Absolutely
bit.
true.
Nah,
Good
Gwyneth, he's
bit.
talking shit. He's talking
He
shit.
has been lying to us.
Yep.
I mean, for you, your knowledge of like flesh crafting, it can affect bones and flesh. You don't think it can affect someone on that deeper level. That seems ridiculous.
Oh.
I think to Gwyneth it's more ridiculous that a Tremere would know it and he wouldn't. So he's just like
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
I must admit, I do feel a bit of relief knowing that it's not possible, Gwyneth.
I guess that it wouldn't
Let's hope-
be. I'd assume he's probably making it up.
Why?
I
By
do
the way, it's
intrigue
clearly
us.
happened with these beasts, it would seem. So we should likely
I know this is. Good.
go ahead, Sir Oliver.
No, I interrupted you, Prince. Please.
No, I was just going to suggest that we go to the dungeon and begin the process of bringing him back.
I was going to bring up a side point that is nothing directly to the situation, but we've alerted all of our other guests to the upcoming Elysium, and we did not alert him to it.
I assume he knows. Out of character, I assume everyone in the city has been invited.
I
Yeah,
okay.
I would not exclude anyone if they were in our city. Captain Blackwood as well has been informed.
Yeah, if people
Just
feel
seemed awkward.
excluded, they. I'll say again.
We have alerted everybody else as they have come through our doors, so I was just making sure that message had been given to him. That is all.
Of course.
Exclusion's a valuable tool, but we're not excluding anyone at this point.
Be very honest. It may be for the best for him if he chooses not to come, given Amir's presence and mine, and possibly Judas. Might be safer at home, but I'll leave that to his discretion.
It's always good to have the choice. people feeling willfully excluded always leads to more trouble.
Agree.
Well, and beyond that, it would be disparaging on your city if our Elysium was not open to all and felt safe.
Quite possibly something that would attract the attention of the Furies.
Well, shall we?
Let's do.
You and I? Well, we can.
What?
What?
Sorry,
Not
gang.
all of us would go down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Unless there's anyone who shouldn't. And I don't know, was Amir going to come back for it? The timing.
Yeah,
Presumably we would
Amira
come
come
back.
back. I think the main thing is that
Okay.
because what you basically do is you get the body, you pull the stake out, you feed him some blood, and now the
Mhm.
waiting game begins. As at some point, he will come out of his torpor. It is hard to know when. If you'd like, you can make an intelligence occult difficulty 8. Actually, difficulty
Do
7.
another one.
Intelligence
Go.
occult difficulty 7.
Yes. If you have occult. If you do not have occult, you do not get to make this roll. Would you like to make this roll, Drew? Yes, you do.
No.
Ooh, I have occult.
So you said it was a cult.
Intelligence.
Intelligence difficulty
difficulty.
7.
Oliver would be probably going to spend time with his new child there and making sure that he is
Yeah.
set for being introduced to the Elysium. So,
Yes. The
His
education.
passes.
Let's go.
And would this be book knowledge at all?
Nope.
Okay.
This is not book knowledge. This is
Hey!
specifically
Nice.
existence knowledge. Knowledge of being a king. Alright. So, you would all know that once a K-Knight has taken enough damage, they are sent into a protective torpor. In which their blood basically stops circulating and finds its place squarely in the heart to try and keep the K-Knight alive. Big thing to note is the recovery period for this varies greatly. It is often based on one's connection to their humanity or their path. And when it is high, it can last a couple days, in rare cases, a couple hours. In the case of those who are low, it can take months, years, centuries, and in rare cases, millennia. And it is impossible to know where this guy is at the moment. There is someone who might be able to find out, but without any supernatural abilities or sorcery, it is impossible to know.
Now that we've got some blood in his system, I can extract some if need be. We are gonna give him a sample, right? I don't really have much.
Yes, but I don't know if it's pressing to give it to him quite so
Before
soon.
he's awake.
Well, we don't know when he'll wake unless we
I
know
suppose
more,
that's
right?
true, yes.
I don't
Either
want
way,
Oswald to think he can give us orders and have, us fulfill them just like that. So, give it some time.
Oh, I see. It's a power move. That makes sense.
Quite so.
All right.
Maud, seeing as you watched over, I don't know what we should call him, prisoner or guest, if you watched over him the
Guessener?
previous day. What did you say?
Guessing it.
Oh, Gessner. What do you feel about being sort of in charge of his security as he goes through this process?
I can keep an eye on him. Of course, it may take quite a while, but when I'm
It
able to keep
may.
an eye on him, I'll endeavor to do so.
At the very worst
Very
case
well.
scenario, he's a somewhat unsightly accessory to wherever you choose to hang your head.
I guess so.
That's one way to put it.
Though hopefully it's not for that long.
If we're planning on taking some time with finding out more about this one, and there is like a fleshy as he knocks on the remaining thigh. He says, "There does remain the leader of the pack, which worries me somewhat. That is something which, well, I don't think we should keep waiting as a power move. For one, I don't particularly care about the opinion of a wolf, and for the other, the more it remains around, the more trouble it will bring to our halls."
And if it is a canine beast, it could be, even now, making more ghouls of hounds across the countryside. So I agree. It should be handled soon. If
Between
possible.
between Maud and I, we ravaged him. We cut deep to the bone, and a thing like that cannot be healed very quickly. I'm certain, despite his attempt to regain as much vitae as he could, he is still injured. I can perhaps finish the job if need be, traveling as a bird, but if anyone would like to accompany me, I'd be quite pleased.
I'd certainly not go alone.
Hmm.
I would say that it might be. It's a huge island. I mean, when you're talking about the scale of walking and flying, I think
And
it
the
might
whereabouts of
be
one wolf.
worth. Yeah, it might be worth mentioning at the Elysium.
Indeed.
True enough. But
Could be easy enough to keep your eyes open in a passive manner.
Can it be handled before Elysium? You
I
have a
think
bit
it
of
can.
time before that.
When I'm looking for something, my prey often finds that it is a very small world indeed.
Well, Lord is watching over our guest. Sister Iris is preparing for our first Elysium. So Oliver has new childer to oversee. Perhaps you and I should go, Randolph. We like old times.
Absolutely, wandering the forests looking for interesting animals. Only this time this thing bites back.
You don't have to watch out for Judas then.
I'm not sure what you mean.
At the mention of Judas, Oliver looks down towards the floor and shakes his head.
If he's not something that needs scrutinizing and close watching, then I suppose it's fine for you to go off into the forest on a hunt.
Randolph,
No, exactly.
Sister Iris. Randolph, Sister Iris brings up a fair point. I understand your need to hunt and find this creature and this mystery, but we have problems within our very halls at this moment. You are the
But
sheriff.
we are not alone. There's at least
You are the
one pair of
prince.
true.
you should act as the prince does.
And how
I
does a
believe
prince
there's
act?
yes. I think perhaps it would be best if tempers were to be lowered and people stop telling various people in power how to do their jobs. The prince may act as the prince pleases, and that
However,
is the value of that. You are right, however,
I
Sir
am
Oliver, in that the
advisor.
running of quite so.
Mm-hmm.
It was not you it was directed toward. Um, I believe that there are certain matters of predictability. I think, however, you are correct in that Judas will act counter to the expected hospitality agreement, not in any way that can be immediately looked at, but in ways which are subtle in that he gains power over the castle and its inhabitants. I do think we have time. I do think it will not take me long. But if there is something that we can do here and now, I believe we should. What will that be?
I was going to say that it's not just the five of us any longer. There are other eyes on Judas, and he is under the laws of hospitality for a little bit longer. I do think it gives us a bit of time.
Of course.
Very well.
I trust all of
hunting.
you.
All right, very good. And again, sorry about, bringing things to a little more formal. It's not my strength, but I do know that where things are stressful and some of you have fraught
Mhm.
relations with your beast. I didn't want that kind of thing to sully the bond that we have made again. I believe all of us are capable Cainites.
And there must be some way for any of you to get word to me, or to Randolph at least, if something goes awry while we're gone.
That being
I
said,
should think.
while Judas remains an extant threat, the usual methods of getting communications to me are slightly compromised. Animals that I directly control, however, will not be too much of a problem. Rose will be a conduit of information.
Indeed.
Is there anything further you need handled while you are out, Prince?
No, I think simply keeping aware of the tense situation on many fronts. There will be nothing to do about it besides that until there is something to do about it. And trust all three of you do that while we're gone.
Of course.
Very well.
Will
As
do.
you bid.
Before I
But
go,
if
yeah.
but if Anders could put the council chamber back together, would be much appreciated.
How would that even be
He
explained
raises
to the
an
staff?
eyebrow. He raises an eyebrow.
Mm-hmm.
Do you not have some of your own retainers to take care of such things?
It's more like Anders directing other kind to do it. He's not expecting this poor little old man to do it by himself.
Poor
Pulls out a
Andrew.
hammer and some
Mhm.
nails. Sighs.
Yeah, he's not expecting that. But his feeling is like Anders knows how it should look, and so he can tell people. That was the idea. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. I was just being a venture for a minute. My apologies.
No, I love it. Great.
Before I go, Sister Iris, may we speak?
Yes. If you wish.
shall we?
You and I?
Well, yes. Unless you
Yes,
wanted other
let's.
people. Okay, all right.
Alright, the two of you head
And
off.
Sister Iris, I did want to say that I apologize. It's just between the prince's stresses and recent evidence therein, such as in the council chamber, questioning one's power, particularly that of the clan of the Fiend, is a quick way to invoke the beast. And my methods aren't exactly surefire.
Well, I perhaps not one to speak, having also so recently lost my temper. But if a word of advice is enough to set off the prince, perhaps it's not the job that they're suited for.
You are a very intellectual person. You know quite a bit, and you're not shy in educating others. But there is a certain point when one being spoken to and educated implies that one does not know much about the subject at hand. Saying, then you should do as a prince does, in regards to gainsay something. There are.
I take your point.
mm,
Perhaps I have
It's.
been leading a flock too long and not.
mm, You're very good at dealing with people and students, and you've taught me well in a number of things. But when it comes to the beast, there's a reason why all procedures are so stuffy and formal. It's because so many people are on the knife's edge of frenzy almost every day. Sorry, he wouldn't say every day, almost every night. And I know that for certain. And he taps his own sternum, where he feels even now the thing writhing.
She gives a sort of uneasy smile, as if she's trying to portray the look rather than genuinely feeling it. I suppose I've been feeling it more recently. It has been more quick to rise. It's been harder to tamp down.
You've gone from a familiar situation and one of relative ease to one where you don't just have to follow orders as such. From Father Collins, a man quite, shall we say, entrenched. We have to move, we have to run, we have to find the next thing, dig it up, put problems down. It's difficult.
Indeed. And I do think there's a certain disconnect between how Gwyneth and I see things. Nothing wrong with it, but it is something that takes some getting used to.
It is. There'll be teething problems, if you'll pardon the expression. But
Yeah, I understand.
mm,
Growing pains.
it's gonna be fine. We're all well acquainted, and I'd like to think we're all friends.
Of course,
But
we've known each other for a century.
But as far as things go, I don't know. I just think it's gonna happen again, and I'd like to think that we can cut it off at the knees. Cutlet, that's a good name for our guest.
I was thinking Stumpy.
I like that too, Stumpy.
Thought it was quite rude, so I didn't suggest it.
He can't hear us, and if he can, he's got some explaining to do.
God can hear us. But I suppose I did admit it to you. So, and I thought it, so That's just as bad as saying it aloud.
Randolph looks up at the ceiling and kind of around as if there's to be any sign of a deity about to smite. This isn't him mocking. This is him genuinely.
And I think
We should be fine.
there's the little tiny playful spirit that resides within the somber version of Iris that is now sort of leans forward and says, "You know he's everywhere, right?"
So I've been told.
They say the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was fooling the world into thinking that he didn't exist. God's
Yeah.
biggest power is obfuscate.
Yes, that figures. It's the same thing, that omnipresence that I feel about Nosferatu, to a lesser extent the Children of the Moon. But they'll have to try to find me when I'm on the move. I'm sorry about speaking up the way I did in the council chambers. That's all I wanted to say. It's just
I understand.
important that everyone gets along.
I agree. And you are correct in that I can try and find a softer way to... And she sort of looks off for a moment, looks back. I suppose it's not my job to advise the prince anymore. They're all of us essential now.
Fair enough. If you've got issues and the council chambers aren't the most, shall we say, constructive place to bring it, report to the Seneschal. Seneschal will report to the prince.
No, it is just old habits.
Still, your advice is well appreciated, I'm sure. Like I said, you're a smart one.
Thank you.
Right, I'm off to go and kill a dog.
I'm off to procure some decor.
With that, Randolph, as you turn to walk away, I want to ask you a question.
Me?
What did Randolph get out of that situation?
Oh no, I think Randolph, it is partially a matter of friendship, but in the front of his mind, what he's trying to think of is, these people are going to make each other frenzy, and I need them to stop that.
I think that sounds like a conviction roll to me. Sounds like
I
you're
think
trying to
it
justify
does.
something.
I think it
you're
does
trying
sound
to
like I'm
justify
trying to
it.
justify something. I think it does.
Oh boy.
What role? Hold on. Let me bring up the
Hold on,
book
yeah.
of the Path of the Beast.
Specifically, it would
doing
be
something for nothing.
Yeah, 5 doing something for nothing.
So that would be. Is that
7.
difficulty 8 or 7?
It'd be standard difficulty, and then you'd add 2 more because it's 2 away.
Yes.
So it'd be difficulty 8 for you.
All right, let's do this. Let's see if the power of friendship makes me degenerate.
I believe in you.
Come on, please let me win this.
No!
Yeah, you walk away from that situation, and you have that you have that brief moment of like, no, this was like because I'm getting something out of this. I definitely am. This is for the sake of the council. And then there's just a moment where you have that flashback of humanity. That moment of that's not who I am. This is wrong. This is a mistake.
Yeah, it's as he turns the corner and as he thinks that, it's a sudden realization that no, it wasn't that. It was a pathetic, archaic way of. It's because I wanted my friends to get along with each other. That is a weakness that can be exploited by these people if they wanted to. Anyone who was watching, even God, they know now that I'm not the apex predator. I've shown my belly, and I need to fix that, and I will fix that. No, don't rub my belly. he realizes that he has acted as a human and feels panic almost. When he goes off to the hunt, he goes to with the same fervor, perhaps, that someone would go to confessional or penance. He needs to be the predator again, because if he slips up like that while he's on the hunt, and he's always on the hunt, he could die.
Mhm.
Exactly. And with that, you are up to path level 6.
Oh
Okay,
no.
buddy.
okay.
Where? Okay, here it is. There you go.
I would say during
I'm a
that whole
bad
scene,
person.
literally during that whole scene, I was like, it's gonna be a path roll. It's
I
gonna be a
know,
path
I
roll.
know.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like at the beginning, I was like, maybe I can justify it, but no, it's just because at some point, there's gonna be a frenzy roll, and our group is going to lose cohesion.
Well, because you like these people, but the
I
beast doesn't
do.
care
God
if you
help
like
me.
these people. The hunt doesn't
The-
matter if you like people.
The beast and I have made a sacred compact in that we look out for number 1, and number 2 is the thing we kill.
All right then.
Forgive me, beast. No, actually, don't. I'm not asking you for forgiveness.
Forgive
Yeah.
me,
I'm
beast,
fine.
for I
Screw
have
you,
sinned.
beast. Screw you.
Yes, fuck you, beast. I know best, and I'm not just saying that to try and get my control back.
Right then.
Oh boy.
In that case, what are the main things that people are doing for the rest of the night? And we'll say the next night is going to be the Elysium session, so you can say you're preparing for that.
Yes, that would be what she is doing.
All right.
Well, I think for
Oliver
the
is.
most... Oh, no, you go.
That's okay. Go ahead, Mon.
I was going to say that I think for the most part, Maud is keeping an eye on the prisoner. I can't remember the term I used earlier that I thought was funny. Now I can't
Questioner.
The
remember it.
Gessener.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Just keeping an eye on him for the most part, but I do think she would approach Iris at some point. Alone, most likely. I think probably just locking the guy she's supposed to be keeping an eye on just in one of the rooms where she's been staying.
All right. All right. Works well. Keep an eye on the body. Sure, he doesn't get up and walk off.
Exactly, just in case. You never know.
All right. What is Sir Oliver doing?
He's getting his Childer ready for introducing them to the court in the Elysium, as he was shown how to do when he was, newly embraced.
I
taken
will
before
say-
everybody.
It would not be uncommon for you to keep his education for a longer period of time. In which case, he just kind of would stay wherever you want him to be and is not technically officially announced to Canine Society. Again, the education process can take
Yeah,
a few
I'm
days,
aware.
can be
It's-
months, can be years. You can also just be like, congratulations, you're now a vampire. Get going.
Bye. Bye bye.
Out of the nest. Fly or die.
Well, it was the thought process was to at least do the introduction, considering he's
Alright.
been working with him on most of that for a long time. But either
Alright.
way, he's making sure that the Childer is taken care of and getting ready for Elysium, because he's got some frustrations and he kind of wants to be away from the council at this moment.
Alright.
Yeah.
And,
It's your job now,
Yeah.
buddy.
and Prince Leonard. What is our lovely Zemitsi prince up to?
Are we going out on our hunt now?
I would assume so if you're going with Randall.
What he's up to?
Alright. In that case, we
Did
watch
Randolph
is
wait for Gwyneth? Or did you just like panic and run away?
ran into the woods.
Oh, shit.
I like to think that the sinking into the depths of friendship as a sin would also extend to waiting and not freaking out too much. He doesn't want to show weakness.
Exactly. You don't want to show weakness.
I
Gwyneth,
I
make
just
me
imagine
a.
Randolph like. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I'll say a perception awareness for you, Gwyneth. You can. It will be difficulty 8, but you can lower it by your aspects using your heightened senses.
Just awareness of the castle in general, or
This is specifically of Randolph.
Oh, okay. No, I'm just gonna use the power of friendship.
Yay! I love playing on a path of
it's-
enlightenment where basic decency is a
Mhm.
sin.
It's terrible. Yeah,
Beautiful.
super
Love
Literally,
fun.
recognizing a leader is a sin. You can't recognize someone being in charge of you.
Right? Recognizing
Difficulty
not-
Don't recognize the alpha.
8, but you can lower it by
RTA.
your aspects.
Difficulty 8.
But you
Oh,
can
okay.
lower it by your aspects because of heightened senses.
What do I need? Do I need to do anything to use aspects or?
No, it's on by
Red blood?
default.
No.
Heightened senses is.
Okay. So I can take it down to a 7 with aspects.
What's your
Assuming you're
aspects
one
rating?
Dalton says. Yeah. How many dots you got?
That is a good question. I haven't used it in so long, I don't remember. I think I have 2, but I'm not sure.
It should stay on the primary page or disciplines.
Yeah, I do have 2. Have read the
Yeah.
soul.
In that
So
case,
yes.
difficulty
Difficulty
6.
6.
Glad I didn't botch that. I'm glad of that 9.
Could have been worse. Could have been worse. Yes, for you, Gwynedd, as you look at Randolph, you can see that he seems paler. A little more on edge. Actually, paler is not the right word. More gaunt. More inhuman. Bestial. It's subtle, but it's there.
As they head out together, Gwyneth will give Randolph the opportunity to talk about what it was like to kill Percy, if he wishes. That pleases his beast at all.
Done. He will, perhaps with relish that is not forced, for he did greatly enjoy it, but performative almost. Will say, and I can see why some eventually refer to it as vintage. It was old blood, Gould, well, had history to it and strength, and all of it beneath my fangs, all of it gone. And then back again. It was a unique experience. Quite glad that Sir Oliver allowed me to do it. Not to mention, filled me up.
It was an honor, certainly. Something I doubt you'll forget for quite some time. But who knows, perhaps there will be other opportunities to taste such vintage in your future.
Yes,
You don't ask for much. So it's nice to have a treat.
exactly. Most hunts are long and extended. Sometimes they come to you. Sometimes they're gifts. Gifts, I found, rare, but they taste unique. And they don't taste like friendship, he thinks in his mind.
Well, perhaps it's time to have an old-fashioned hunt and taste the difference in one evening, eh?
Yes, very much so. Come, follow. We can go back to the cave where it was last seen, and then from there, we can follow the tracks on the trail. They have, if they can travel during the day, approximately 13 hours head start.
Imagine a beast as the one you described shouldn't be too hard to find.
I expect so.
And it may not be able to travel by day, which gives us even more advantage.
Indeed. It's wounded, too. And in his mind, he goes, is this too easy? Is this a good enough sacrament? No, no, no. We cut it deeply. It's a fearsome warrior. We're fine.
Right. I think with that, we can have a wits survival roll from both of you.
Indeed.
This will be difficulty 8.
Would
Actually,
the
difficulty 7.
Would the travel specialty count, or is this more tracking?
This is more tracking than travel.
Oh, 0. No, I'm failing!
No! Oh, I do have some.
No.
Man, the power of friendship really fucked your shit up.
It really did. I should have just let them fight.
The power of
God.
friendship
Yeah.
will.
There can be only one Randolph.
Oh no.
God.
with it.
What is with this? I'm not a
Yeah.
fan.
I should be better at this, I think. It's my fault.
So yeah, the night passes as you are wandering through, trying to follow tracks. Specifically, Gwynedd finds a track and then begins following it. Randolph stopping looking at his to go follow and focus on that. You travel for about the night until just after midnight, where both of you realize you were actually following the tracks of what looks to be a rabbit, and realize you've gone completely off track.
Been too long, old friend.
Let's not tell the others about this.
No, and if they do find out, it's certainly my fault for distracting you. I'm out of practice.
No, I think I'm losing my edge. It should be fine.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. You know, now that we're out here alone, how are you faring? A lot of responsibility to put on you all of a sudden.
Ultimately, I welcome it. It's a unique chance to apply my skills in different ways, and it's been interesting thinking about how a city hunts, if that makes sense. I'm having to think a lot about different aspects of the polity. I
Yes,
never
I
used
imagine.
to. Oh, yeah.
No, it's you are approaching it from a unique perspective, and I welcome your insight.
I never used to attend too much in the way of gatherings and parties. I did my duty for Prince Collins, of course, and I was pleased to do so, for it matched my skill set. But now looking at it from a position of authority, I see new and interesting threats and prey everywhere. Even the increase in the price of fish as I go by the night market is possibly a sign of someone attacking us. Ships offshore being assaulted, being sunk. It's made my, not gonna say paranoia, but it certainly made me think a lot more. which is something I feel I've been missing.
Well, that's good. But it does sound a bit like a bit more anxiety on your shoulders, and I wouldn't wish that. I hope you can still find those moments of peace for yourself and everything that's going on.
Peace is a reward for a successful hunt completed, and the hunt is never truly over. You're right in that there's anxiety, but there's always that. This world is vast and dark, and the shadows hide monsters more terrible than any of us can imagine, and we can imagine quite a bit. As much as
And
we
yet,
are, yes, and yet
and
there are
yet,
moments.
and yet, there are moments like now, the two of us out here in the forest, just enjoying being the predators we are. Here as the wildlife around us goes silent, anxious because of us. That's something
Well,
to enjoy.
there is, yes, and it is good to be feared, but also the woods hold terrible and dangerous monsters which are difficult but not impossible to kill. But that's neither here nor there. We are safe. He lies.
Yes. We are, if not safe, we can certainly enjoy our surroundings. Night, the moon, scent of
That we can.
pine needles.
Better than the smell of the city. Not that it's bad, of course, but
No, I know exactly what you mean. I agree. It's good to have the time now and then. We've been under a lot of pressure lately. We all could use that moment of silence now and then.
you are right. Let me just quickly check my sin list again. Yes, you are right. I have missed this. But let's get back on the right track. This rabbit. I feel like we should punish it, but I don't want to dig around in the burrow just yet.
We have better things to do with our time.
That we do. All right. Let's try this once more. I
Do you
will
ever
spend a
use
will.
Rose
Yep.
to track from above?
I always do. In this case, however, it's mostly just the footprints that I was looking for. Broken branches, the scent of old blood. But Rose is a constant companion in the hunt.
Right. Randolph, you could make one more perception survival, wit survival roll. Gwynedd, you are not able to, as that was a double botch.
I think it's very much Randolph going, no, my prince, I'll take care of it. And like,
Yeah.
in the very much, please stay out of the kitchen. This is my...
Not part of the solution, you're part of the problem, and you are not part of the solution.
I am going to spend willpower, so that doesn't happen again.
You say that, but
4 successes.
hey,
Hell yeah. So,
you eventually find yourself back on the right track, following a pair of large prints that appear to be the beast you are seeking. However, by the time you manage to continue find the trail again and start tracking, you're getting to the point where you have maybe 2 hours before you need to head back, or about an hour before you need to head back, actually, if you want to not be stuck here at sunrise. Which is fine for you, but not so fine for the prince.
I think Randolph will say, while neither of us are strangers to roughing it when the need arises, if the sun set on the day of the Elysium, on the night of the Elysium and you were not present, Well, some people might see it as strange.
Yes, it's true. Certainly I'll have to head back. If you choose to find it before you rest, I'll leave that to you. But I have enjoyed just this revisit of old times. Just this moment of peace, I think, has done me good.
So
Even
have
if we
I.
didn't find our objective this night.
I am not what one would call an orthodox gangrel. But I will say that being away from the city, time with you in the wild, very pleasant. And being on the hunt with another, well, a hunt shared is a hunt made more easy. And he, like, in his mind, he's like, okay, this is who I have to be now. And also, I enjoy spending time with you.
It has been. It has been some time since we've been alone.
I'll send Rose back on the way with you, though I'm sure you're capable of keeping an eye out yourself. But should anything arise, send her to the city or back.
Understood. Good hunting.
And to you as well.
From both of you, can I get perception alertness? Difficulty 8.
Would search apply here?
No, as this is not an active search. This is more of a whether you notice something.
2 successes.
Aspects help again?
Yes, lower the difficulty.
Okay.
Auspex is so good.
Oh, so good.
So the original difficulty was 7 or 8?
8.
8. So it knocked it down to
Okay.
6 for you.
Okay.
Randolph just likes his friends so much, and he can't
Oh,
think
good.
that.
Alright. 2 successes. Both of you notice in the corner of your eye a rustling of a bush. At first it appears to be a wind, but then you notice what looks to be a red patch of something within it.
Feral whispers, "There you are."
You hear a growl escape the bushes as first the nose and then the head of this large red wolf-like creature leans out. There we go. Now that you get a good look at him, as part of a description from before, he is about the size of a person. And for you, Gwyneth, you have never seen a wolf this big. This thing is fucking massive. But it does not do anything. It just pokes its head out and growls. It makes no immediate movement.
I can speak to it. In fact, I believe we both can.
I believe you both have feral
And
whispers.
Randolph does, as he says, licking your wounds. Hunter of villages.
It returns the words competition, dangerous. Seek not death, but will if need be.
We are not competition. You are not competition. Your prey came to you, called you, and got eaten.
Gwyneth's just like, well, aren't you something? He's like kind of impressed. He's like, holy fuck.
There's an odd intelligence to this creature. Certainly more than you've ever seen of any ghoul or animal ghoul or beast of any kind.
And Gwyneth's just gonna glance over at Randolph and be like, of course I bow to your expertise in this, but did we strike an agreement with this? Or are we beyond that?
Well, his diet is a unique one. But survival is a song that all of us can sing.
You hear it sniff at the air as it looks to you, Randolph. You remind me of Master.
We are of the same blood, as you would have found out had your jaws closed upon me and not the other way around. You know me. I was the wolf.
It's a low growl, but not a hostile one.
Every pack needs an alpha.
That's actually a misconception based around. No, he doesn't. He doesn't say that. But he does say, "You are unique. You found a way, based on small windfall, to turn yourself and your pack into terrors. You're a smart one."
My pack. It's
Did you call
It says it like it's a question.
the hounds, or did your master call them?
I recognize them as similar. I took control, dominated, consumed their leader.
I like you. I know that doesn't mean very much to either one of us. But you're unique. I will say this. I have embarked upon a hunt for you. But the hunt need not end with your death. If instead you can recognize me as a leader that you will not eat. I have proven. Sorry, you.
I recognize you as predator of stronger. You remind me of my master, but you are quieter.
Patient hunter gets the prey, and the loud hunter invites complications.
He was strange for a predator, but he was strong.
What did your master require of you? Or ask of you?
Hunt with find things, creatures, monsters.
What?
Predator.
Are we getting any kind of like image from this creatures, monsters, predators they were hunting?
No, but you get the feeling he's referring to your kind, or something similar to you.
Anything specific, or one in general? Oh, sorry. Anything in specific, or a general?
Man with antler of metal. Odd. Predator, but strange.
I see.
You can roll an intelligence animal can to interpret its words if you would like.
I would love to. Does this count as a wild animal?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, we'll say yeah. Relatively wild.
Indeed. Intelligence animal can. Let's go. That is 7 successes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get the feeling
speak
it's
their language.
referring to someone wearing a crown.
Indeed. Perhaps Father Collins. Did Father Collins wear a crown? I don't
Father
think he
Collins
did.
did not wear a crown.
Yeah.
Oh, even I get some of it. Nice.
You get the feeling as well that he's most likely referring to someone, probably someone with a crown of some sort.
Did you ever see this man with an antler of metal?
No. He was where humans were dangerous.
So it was a kine with a crown or a canine with a crown?
It seems he is insinuating as a canine with a crown.
Damn.
We've seen a Canite wearing a crown before, but they were in Douglas.
I'm just thinking, how long has he been around? That's my question.
Indeed.
He
You could
could
ask.
be hunting someone totally different. I think because you're doing a lot better than Gwyneth is, Gwyneth is just sort of gonna look to Randall and say, "How long do you think he's been hunting here? How do animals perceive time?"
How many comings of winter have you prosecuted your hunt?
Many. More than I can recall.
At least 7.
I think he would say, I have seen packs of humans come and go, growing, dying, over and over.
You've walked through time and generation. Approach me.
Roll a charisma animal can.
Absolutely.
This will be difficulty 8.
Do I get... No, because I'm not in animal form. Let's see how this goes. That is 2 successes. 3 if wild animals counts.
It indeed would. It hesitantly takes a step forward and slowly approaches you.
And Randolph will slowly. There's no quick movements, not because he fears the creature, but because he knows that fear is an eternal part of nervousness, that type of thing. But he will lay a hand upon the the head of this snarling creature and say, "You have outlived many generations of hunters, and much in the way of prey. In that time, in those ages, did you ever find yourself needing a name? Do you?
Master gave me a name, but it has been long since I have seen Master.
Your master, he was not the one in the cave.
No. That was the
Certainly not
prey of the
at the time.
the prey of the not wolves I found. He basically recognized them as not being what he is.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. This guy is a wolf. He was from before they went extinct here. That's so cool. Randolph is going to say, "I can offer you that which you seek, though you have been changed. I can provide you blood from my veins, strengthen you, keep you alive, though I understand perhaps you may have moved beyond that need."
It seems to slowly move its head in almost a confirmation, but it itself is not too sure. It knows what it is. It doesn't quite know what it is, but it knows how to survive. And it says, I taste of the power of human hunter, and it allows me to keep hunting.
Tell me this. Who was your master all those years ago?
Strong.
Did he come from afar?
He came from a ship.
And he will nod as if confirming.
Ship that bears the head of my kind. I
The
remember when I
wolves.
saw, but I remember not much else. I
The
experienced
wolves
too many.
sea.
It seems to not. Wolves of the sea. He is somewhere. I know not where. I think I wish to find him. Which is odd, because whenever you talk to any other animals, it's the I need. Animals
Yeah,
don't
this
want.
is I want. Randolph knows that this creature is interesting and unique, and also that it ties in with a mystery that he wants to solve. So I think turning to the prince slightly, but still speaking to the wolf, he will say, "I believe I wish to find your master as well. You and I are both predators of a different sort, but we walk the same road. I can give to you my blood, and you can give to me your strength. And I promise you, neither of us will ever lack for prey. And we can search." Oh yeah, you.
Is it possible that this unusual desire in our lupine companion might come from one of the oldest relationships in humankind, which is between man and wolf. It may not be particularly the master he seeks, but that companionship which he has lacked all this time. You can certainly offer that.
I could. But it's not just that. Often it is need, a drive. This is desire. This is a beast elevating what it thinks. It's something more than a wolf. It always was, but now it's fascinating. But you are right that companionship is useful in the hunt. I think Randolph is at this point going to take his other hand, bring it up to his mouth, and bite into the, what is that? The brachial artery. And he is going to say, "You and I now will make this." Oh, hello, Natalie. Yeah, sure. Take some M&Ms. Don't worry about it.
You offer him some
you say-
M&Ms.
Exactly. No, it's chocolate.
Oh no!
He will say, "You and I will make this compact, and I can promise you prey and blood, and that we will seek your master. There are many shadows on this isle, and I intend to look beneath them."
It considers your offer before it leans its head forward and its tongue laps up your blood. Silent agreement to your offer.
Perhaps
What?
on the occasion of this new accord, we should offer it another name.
It came, Soul Master from beyond the sea, the Vikings. It needs a strong name, the name of a warrior. Ragnar.
It nods its head.
Welcome back to this world, though you never truly left.
It nods its head.
He will stand back upright after a number of, and I'll give it a full blood point.
Yeah.
He will stand and healing that wound. He will turn to the prince, one hand resting on the mane of this large wolf. He will say, "We came seeking one thing, but we learn now another." The history of this place is a fascinating thing, isn't it? I'm certain Sister Amos will appreciate it as well as we did. I think this. Oh yeah. I think this is the beginning of quite an interesting relationship. Let's head back.
Right.
I think with that, as we pan up watching the two of you and your new hunting mate.
Yes, not quite pet.
Yeah. As we watched you step your way towards the city, we get a big view of the city once more, the lights shining within it, and the night sky behind it, as we end the session there.
Oh yes.
All dogs go to heaven,
Ragnar! Oh, not this
except the
one.
damned ones, I guess.
Yeah.
the instant you said needs a new name, I was like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
For those of you who may be watching this who don't know, Ragnar is the name of Mars's beautiful, beautiful dog.
Yeah. That
Big
was
boy.
so good.
And also the majority of the reason I was muted because he was losing his mind.
Mhm.
I was using feral whispers. He was
Yeah,
trying to
Yeah.
respond.
he was
That was
responding.
too powerful.
Mhm.
Far too
Exactly.
powerful.
Gwyneth was gonna suggest
Yes.
Rory, which means Red King, but Ragnar is great.
Rory is a really good name.
Oh my god.
All right. With that, let's do our outros. Let's start off with Rebecca. Give us your outro.
Hello. Goodbye, rather. I am Rebecca, and I have been Keeper Sister Iris. I, have been responsible for Randolph going down and degrading a little bit, unfortunately. Oops.
Oops, indeed.
Oopsies.
Next up, Drew. Give us your outro.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Hey, everybody. I'm Drew. Had a lovely time playing with these people, playing Sir Oliver, the Norman Templar, who now is now a dad,
He's a
and
Congratulations, Dad!
and he's a working man, got a job as a seneschal, and really hates his life. It's all fabulous at this point. It's been a joy playing with everybody, and I hope you guys all enjoy, and look forward to
Oh,
catching
I
you next
missed you
time.
guys.
All right. Next up, Blue. Give us your outro.
Everybody, I have been Blue, your Prince stepdad of Peel. Just happy to get a quiet moment tonight in the forest, hanging out, make a new doggo friend. It's good times.
Next.
You have no idea how bad he wanted to get out of that council chamber for the last 12 episodes.
Fair.
He's so happy.
Yeah.
He needed a vacation.
He gets his vacation hours.
Next up, Thomas. Give us your outro.
Hello, I have been Thomas and playing Sheriff Randolph, who, the last time he tried to invoke the power of friendship, he succeeded in his conviction roll and successfully tricked himself into believing it was about efficiency. This time he couldn't quite hang on to that. But because he invoked the power of friendship, he now has a new hunting mate. And, of course, infinitely more anxiety about who he is as a person, and is slowly but surely coming to the realization that the beast within him is not quite going to be happy with everything he does all the time. But yes, it has been a wonderful time, and Ragnar will hunt once
Ragnar.
more alongside a K-Knight.
Right, and
Randolph is
last-
going to be ending this. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good.
I think for Randolph is headed towards being friendship bearer. It's fine.
The
Mhm.
If
Care
that
Bears.
happens,
Care
if that
Bears,
happens,
yeah.
He's gonna become a white.
yeah, he's gonna be on path one and like the beast speaking through every word, but barely able to form sentences. He says, "Friendship,
Oh, John Toretto, is that you?
communicate to each other. We need
Therapy speech.
we need to throw a birthday party."
Oh, all right. And last but certainly not least, Mars. Give us your outro.
Hello and goodbye. I am Mars and I played Maud, the Valkyrie. Seems Valkyrie times 2.
Mm-hmm.
And she sure had a not like kind of uncomfortable time with the fun realization of new Childa.
Yeah.
I love it.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Alright, and I have been your storyteller, Mark, aka the CatsMeow. I hope you have enjoyed our episode for tonight, and I hope you will continue to watch this series through as more and more episodes come out. Next week we will be getting the Elysium session, which I'm sure will be a lot of fun for everyone, and definitely won't cause any problems at all to arise.
Ooh.
No, it'll be fine.
Does it ever?
Of course
Exactly.
not.
Elysium
It's
never.
always Elysium is always good all the time, and no problems
Mm.
ever happen in Elysium.
Yeah.
Ever
when I'm
gets
in
set on
charge.
fire?
I
Um,
have never set the Elysium on fire before.
Hmm.
True has.
Yeah, but I'm here,
Several times.
and I have.
Well, I mean, technically.
Alright, and with that, we bid you all adieu. We hope you have a wonderful night, that you've had a wonderful holidays, and remember, you never know. When you wander through the woods, you never know what you might stumble across. For there are creatures stranger than simple beasts and animals. For there truly are monsters that stalk the night. Beware. Be vigilant. And be good. Farewell.
Farewell!